GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we help decode the crypto market that's more desperate for direction than a guy lost without GPS. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton. It's Thursday, April the 3rd, and there's a 20% chance that the bull market is over. We're going to talk about why Zeneca believes that. We're also going to talk about stablecoins. Everybody's talking about it right now. But the big question is, how do you get exposure to stablecoins? What are the opportunities? How do you invest in this sector? We're going to talk about portfolio allocation. I'm sure we're going to talk about a bunch more stuff because whenever Zen's on the show, it's definitely a ranging conversation into many different areas. We are joined by Zeneca. I'm teeing him up as if I've introduced him. We're joined by Zeneca again, crypto investor, legendary educator, tweeter, and writing a lot right now. I'm producing a lot of content. So really excited to dive into some of his recent newsletters. If you guys are swapping, highly recommend Milk Road Swap. Not only because it's our product and I believe in it, also because it's got some of the lowest fees in the space. I'm talking about 0.15% fees on trades on Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base. You can also trade on Solana, all within Milk Road Swap. It's backed by Cow Swap, so you know that you're backed by a well-respected decentralized DEX in the space. Click on the link in the show notes if you guys are swapping. Today's episode is brought to you by MoonPay. Trade crypto fee-free, fast, and on your terms. It's also brought to you by Coinshift, powering top crypto treasuries with their yield-bearing stablecoin, CSUSDL. Zeneca, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me as always. Excited to be here.
Always a pleasure, my man. Always a pleasure. Okay, you wrote a piece recently, I think maybe a week or two ago, and you said that you believe that there's a 20 to 25% chance that the bull market is over. Why?
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to know these things. Everyone is largely guessing. You have some people that look at technical analysis, some people look at fundamentals, some people look at the 4-year cycle and all that kind of stuff. I kind of take into account as many different pieces and points of information as I can, and then it's like just a gut feeling, instinct, and you have to come up with some sort of number. And so I came up with 20 to 25% because it's 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I thought it was like 5 or 10% chance. But as time goes on, as the macro environment changes, as Trump continues being Trump and tariff nonsense looming over everyone's heads, recession fears, you have to sort of increase your odds a little bit. However, I mean, obviously 20-25% thinking it's over still means 75 to 80% chance that we're in a bull market, or the bull market is not fully over. So we're in like maybe a bearish, choppy period, but I still think we hit new all-time highs sometime this year or maybe early next year for Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. I'm glad you
Yeah.
said caveat
Who knows
Bitcoin.
for anything else? But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough. Do you think that I want to touch in? I'm going to bring up your article, and I want to talk about you broke down really nicely your bullish thoughts and your bearish thoughts. So I want to bring up that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But before I do, just did a show with Matt Hogan and Ryan Rasmussen from Bitwise, and Matt has this thesis that the typical 4-year cycle is over for crypto, and mainly this is connected to a belief that we are decoupling Bitcoin from the rest of crypto, and that we're no longer going to see the all crypto run at the same time, and basically this, like, you can buy any asset, any crypto token in a bull market, and it's going to go. And I'm sort of feeling that as well. Like, I feel like times are changing. We're having corporations and institutions come into the space. They trade very differently than everybody that's here currently, than the retail and the degens that are here right now. They're more long term, all these things. And also, the Bitcoin is just it's the only one that's got the runaway fundamentals that it's pretty hard to argue the Bitcoin thesis at this point. But everything else, really, in the end, it's still speculative tech, right? Like, yeah, I believe very strongly in Ethereum and Solana, and I still believe they do well this cycle, don't get me wrong. But long term, it's very high risk and tough. It feels tougher. I mean, you said this yourself, I think in a recent article I remember you wrote, it took you a long time to realize like it's Bitcoin and then everything
And
else.
everything else, yeah. I mean, you're right. It's this cycle more than, or this year or last 2 years more than any other period, I think we've really seen Bitcoin separate from the rest. I also agree that the 4 year cycle is likely over. It has to end eventually. Like whether it's this time or next time, it's just like it just can't continue 4 years the same way forever. Something I've been saying recently about it is that everyone is so caught up in like, oh, the 4 year cycle, it's going to do this. And it's like the sample size is two, like, or maybe three. So like yes, it's happened a few times before, but it's not exactly statistically a guarantee that it's going to happen the same way again. And yeah, I think it's unlikely it's going to continue for too long. But yeah, I think with Bitcoin, I think we still need to see what happens to alts when monetary policy changes, when quantitative easing begins, when rates drop, when money printer goes on. Like historically, that's been when ETH and alts have run. So, I mean, Bitcoin dominance has just gone up. It's like 62, 63% now. If it continues to go up, even after quantitative easing, then I think yes, that is definitely true, and that would be like the final nail in the coffin. But if that happens and ETH starts going up and Sol starts going up and BTC dominance drops, then I think that there's probably still some validity to alts having their moment in the sun. I don't want to say alt season because I don't think we get that. I agree that we're not going to get everything rising together. You won't be able to buy something and just have because everything's going up, it'll go up too. I think most people agree with that now. It's just there's way too many tokens and things across everything. But I hold out hope that I mean I'm still really bullish on ETH and Sol, and
Mhm.
like I'm obviously very bullish on Bitcoin, but I think that there are some longer term concerns about the security of it and the if people aren't using it, then how is the network going to stay secure and yada yada yada. Like 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now.
Mhm.
Maybe smart contract chains solve that. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just feel like right now in a moment like this, I feel very strong conviction for buying Bitcoin and I feel very strong conviction for moving to cash. Like those are the two things I feel strong conviction for. And I don't and it's I'm not saying that I don't I think a lot about buying other tokens. I know you do as well. You wrote a piece on NFTs coming back, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should buy a Terraform," which we don't need to go down that, but I've been waiting for that
Mhm.
moment too. And 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 I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy these other tokens, and because look, I think Bitcoin. I still believe I said Bitcoin would be 240 by the end of the year. I still believe in that prediction. I find it very interesting that nobody that I've had on the show that made predictions has for Bitcoin has changed their predictions for 2025. Everybody maybe is saying like, oh, maybe it goes into 2026, but everybody is generally, and I mean, I kind of set you up at the beginning of the show because I wanted to focus on the negative as opposed to the positive. But so I chose to focus on your 20% bear as opposed to
Yeah.
80% bull. But but I what I what I do also see is it feels to me like you're not going to miss it, I don't think, right now. Like I think that whenever macro turns around, which will turn around, and the only reason I feel so confident in that is like Trump is not trying to be remembered as the austerity president who came in and like liquidated every asset class. Like
Yeah.
that's not Trump, not definitely not long term. So I feel like it's going to turn around, and when it turns around, Bitcoin's going to run first, right? Like that just
Yeah.
feels like the obvious, and then it'll flow to fundamental assets, and those fundamentals will be ETH, Solana, I think DeFi, and then it'll flow to the casino. And so I'm not saying that there won't be the opportunity in the casino and the going for those 100x's. I still think that happens. I just think that like the I don't necessarily fear I used to fear like missing out on those pumps. And in a moment like this, I don't think you're going to I think you'll see it coming. I don't know
Yeah.
what
As
your
long as you're
thoughts
paying
are.
attention. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are like tuning out and like it happens every bear market. It's not exciting to check your portfolio. It's the opposite actually. You dread checking it. It's depressing watching the prices go down every single day. There are fewer opportunities. And so people like tune out, they go back to real life. That's what I did in 2019, 2020. And then I regretted it in 2021. And so, yeah, I think some people are tuning out, but if people that are still listening to podcasts like this and then tuning in every day, I think are putting themselves in a much better position to, like you said, take advantage of these opportunities, because you'll be able to see the signs as they start bubbling up, before the rest of the world sort of ushers in.
It's a great point. It's a great point. You must stay tuned in because you will miss it. Because it will when it does happen. I guess it does. Fast is a relative term, but it
Yeah,
could we could.
days or
There's a
weeks, not
real belief that we
not
could
months.
rip very quickly. Actually, once macro does turn around,
Yeah,
because all the tailwinds have never been so strong. Never been
yeah,
so strong,
it's
right?
insane.
Like it's insane. Okay, give us your let's go through your bullish list and your bearish list right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, just speaking of tailwinds, a lot of the bullishness is based on that. It's like the shift in the US regulatory approach towards crypto. A lot of the it's not just gone from like negative to neutral or neutral to good. It's gone from very negative to very positive. It's like two complete extreme ends, where now there's a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now they're talking about a sovereign wealth fund that will buy Bitcoin. Individual states are buying it. They are regulating stablecoins. There's just so much just general bullishness. The SEC has completely changed and their approach has completely changed. And so, yeah, I mean, that is one big giant bullish thing towards Bitcoin. You have ETFs, which again didn't exist several years ago, and it just makes it easier for. In two things with ETFs, it makes it easier for the average person to invest in Bitcoin and ETH, and probably some other ones later on if they want to. But B, it's this constant buy pressure from people and institutions who have money sitting in funds or retirement funds or whatever. Whenever there's a allocation and someone's like a portfolio manager's like, yeah, we'll put 1% in crypto or 2% in crypto. It's like that kind of, every month a little bit of money is trickling in. I think that is really, really, really bullish. And yeah, as we mentioned before, like quantitative tightening coming to an end, when macro changes, when the money printer goes on, I think that is a potential bullish catalyst. And I do still think that will happen sometime this year. Lots of reasons
Okay,
to be
let's
bullish. There are some reasons to be bearish, though.
let's go through bearish.
It starts off with Trump being Trump. I mean, today is Liberation Day, which quote unquote Liberation Day. We don't know what that means with tariffs. He's going to announce his tariff plan. I don't know, but yeah, the market doesn't like uncertainty, and it's been completely uncertain since. I mean, for the last 2 months, since he's been every day changing his mind and policy on tariffs and trade and literally everything. So that is honestly a big overhang. If that clears up, if the market starts to feel confident that you know what, he is not going to be in this prolonged trade war with 50 countries at the same time, and there's an end in sight, then I think, like you said, it can turn around really, really, really quickly. But if it doesn't, then there's recession's fear. There's fear of recession. There's fear of a macro crash. There's fear of stagflation. There's all sorts of fears that maybe tech stocks don't recover. The entire macro, it takes years to recover. Bitcoin has never existed during a depression or recession, like a significant recession. Like it was launched after 2008. It was a result of 2008. And so we haven't seen obviously there was a COVID crash that was minor, but we haven't seen like a prolonged bearish recessionary period for macros. So I think if that happens, all bets are off with crypto, and that could happen. I don't think it's a huge percentage chance that it does, but it could. Another thing is like a lot of the catalysts are behind us. So last year you had the ETS, you had the Trump election, you had Trump being inaugurated, you had the SEC changing, you had the strategic Bitcoin reserve this year. All these big announcements are behind us now, and so like there's no specific news to look forward to that will necessarily pump it. That could also be seen as a good thing though, where it's like now any positive news is not priced in, so it could just be a surprise and delight type of thing for the market. Retail's been destroyed this cycle. I think meme coins have been very extractive, and then Trump and Melania coins were just maximally extractive. It took so much money out of the ecosystem, so much money from new participants. It was just really, 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 really bad. It could just take a while longer to recover from that than just a few months. And the last point is that the bottom was 2022, November 2022, 2.5 years ago. Been up only for Bitcoin since then. Like there's been periods of sideways action, but we've been going up for 2.5 years. It's possible that that's the bull market, and that's enough. Again, 25% chance. I think it's over. I'm very much still in the camp of I think we go higher this year or early next year, but you have to be realistic, and there are some very serious and significant reasons that maybe we have topped.
Let's be honest. Everything in crypto comes with fees. But here's a nice surprise. MoonPay Balance doesn't take a cut. You heard that right. No MoonPay fees when you buy or sell crypto with your MoonPay balance. Top up with dollars, pounds, or euros, then you're ready to trade instantly whenever the market moves. And if you change your mind, withdraw your cash. No MoonPay fee there either. Simple, fast, ready when you are. Check it out at milkroad.com/MoonPay. Disclaimer: network and ecosystem fees apply. Meet CSUSDL, the stablecoin built for institutions and DAOs. Don't just hold basic stablecoins, earn yield, all without compromising security. Backed by regulated real world assets and secured with institutional grade risk management by our friends at Stakehouse Financial, put your treasury cash to work, earning native yield and protocol rewards. Built by the team behind Coinshift, which is trusted to manage over 1 billion in business treasuries on chain, including Aave, Gitcoin, and hundreds of leading institutions. CYCS USDL is gaining traction at milkroad.com/Coinshift. Let me give you I'm gonna pull up a chart here from Coinbase did a survey. This is one of my most bullish points right now. Coinbase did a survey, 350 institutional investors, each managed an average of $1 billion. And this was the number one thing that stood out for me in the survey. We did a whole episode on this with John D'Agostino from Coinbase. You guys can go back, this is a few weeks ago, go back and listen to that if you want to dive into the whole survey. But one of the things that was said was that 59% of the respondents plan to allocate over 5% of their AUM to crypto. And here's why this is a big deal. The 5% number is a big deal because in most institutional investors, you can get away with doing kind of whatever you want if you're allocating under 5% to an asset class. You don't need to change your mandate. You don't need to go back to your LPs to get their buy-in. If you want to go over 5% allocation into an asset class, you have to go back to your LPs, to your investors, and you have to change your mandate. You have to basically go through a lot of administrative work in order to get their approval to say, yeah, hey, you can go do this with my money, right? And so this 5% number is very significant because what it means is that these institutional investors, they are so bullish on crypto that they're willing to basically put their necks on the line. They're willing to go back. They're willing to not only do all this administrative work, they're willing to go back to their LPs and say, hey, guys, I think we should change our mandate and I think we should go more into crypto. And they're willing to have that conversation, which is scary for these guys because this is like, it's like calling up your owner of your sports team or something like that and being like, hey, I want to spend the budget differently. It's like, well, I don't know if we should do that. So it's a significant that over 5% and seeing that more than 50% of them want to get to that over 5. That's a huge number. It's just where it's so, I've never seen this in the space where, I don't know if you have, I've never seen such like strong fundamentals, such strong tailwinds and incredible bullishness. We did an episode last week with Yano from Blockworks after DAS. And man, he rhymed off a list of like 10 things from DAS that were insanely bullish, like insanely, but yet the sentiment, the fear is so strong. And really that's market uncertainty caused by Trump being Trump. As you said, nobody's better at creating attention. And how do you create attention? Controversy, uncertainty. That is the best way to create attention. Chaos is attention grabbing. And that's what he's doing. Now, I mean, he has his fiscal policies and his reasons and all of that. But anyways, I just had to bring that up. Let me ask you a question. Any comments on that before?
No, just on that report, you probably covered it when you covered the whole thing, but there was another element of it which said 84% of surveyed respondents, which is I think like 360 institutional companies or investors, 84% of them either already are or plan to integrate stablecoins into their ecosystem, which is 84% is insane. Stablecoins really are going crazy.
Yeah. Stablecoins are the They're like the least. I mean, we've been talking about it forever. They're the
Yeah.
least sexy, the least they're not. I mean, they're zero speculative, but I mean, you can speculate. We'll talk about Circle and okay, how do you
Yeah.
speculate? But let me just ask one question quickly. You know quite a few of like the OGs, and you talk to OGs because you're an OG yourself. You've been around long enough. You know, I've only been here. I've been here for 5 years working full time in this space. It's not really OG. Like you kind of got to go back like 8 years, I would say. I don't know what time frame would be OG. One thing I'm hearing a lot from a lot of different people on the OG side is there's a real exodus happening there. A lot of the OGs are just like, I'm done, right? I don't care anymore about now. A lot of those OGs have, if they leave now, they've made a lot of money because they have big bags and Bitcoin and even ETH. They probably bought ETH well below the prices as it's at now. Are you seeing that too? Is that exodus happening?
Definitely feeling that and seeing that as well. I don't think I'm as OG as that either. I'm just like
Mm,
you. I've been like 2021. I've been full time since then. I was around in
mm,
2017, but not full time. But yeah, I've definitely been feeling and seeing that same sentiment where who've been around for a while are just fed up. They're sick. They're tired. They're exhausted. They're disenchanted. Crypto is not what it was back then, which it very much isn't. It's changing. It on multiple fronts. On the one hand, you've got governments and institutions dominating so much of the narrative, which is it's good for adoption, but it's not good for like the whole cypherpunk anti-establishment ethos that a lot of people were into, especially 10 plus years ago. And then secondarily, people have been talking about changing the world with crypto, and then so much attention's been on meme coins, and so much attention's been on like things that just are very just extractive and vaporware. It's very disenchanting for people that have been building in the space. But I think stablecoins is one of the ways that actually is a counter to that, which is like actually this is solving a real problem. It's helping people around the world. It's being adopted. It's actually a really cool use case of crypto.
it's sort of funny. If you were to like erase the last 12 years, it's and Satoshi came back, he'd be like, "Oh, I did it. It wasn't actually Bitcoin, it was stable coins, but like, hey, look, we did it." Right? And he'd be
Yeah,
stoked. Like that was
yeah.
his whole objective. He achieved.
Peer-to-peer payment network, basically. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we did it. We did it.
yeah.
And in between, we created this insane speculative
What a
asset that he
ride.
definitely did not intend to do. That was
Yeah,
definitely
he's
not
like
his intention.
NFTs.
Yeah.
What are you
What?
meme coins? What are you guys doing? Yeah,
uh, but my point there is, um, and this is there's when when all these OGs are leaving and are leaving in a bit of disgust and a bit of distaste, as I see right now, that is the echo chamber that I find a lot of people are in on crypto Twitter. Is that's all they see is they see a lot of OGs, a lot of influencers, a lot of people that they've followed for a long time that they trust that have been in the space are fed up and leaving, and it's leading to this like that's where I see this like big dichotomy happening that I'm trying to rationalize because like I'm so bullish. I've never been so bullish. Look, I'm not saying prices are going to turn around tomorrow. It might be 1 month, it might be 6 months, but like I said, I still believe very strongly that we end up much higher for Bitcoin than we are today by the end of the year. So I think that's where that comes from, of this like this fear that's just like drowning so many people.
yeah. No, it's rough out there, and I think low sentiment begets more low sentiment. So like as
Mm.
people are depressed and fearful and anxious, then if they talk about it on the timeline, then more people get that way, and then they talk about it, then more people get that way. It's like it's just the opposite of like we're during a bull market. There's euphoria and mania, and that's because everyone is manic, and making money and crazy. And then it's just like social media has this way of just adding a million liters of fuel to whatever fire is running, if it's a good one or a bad one. So yeah, it's I don't know. Like you said, it's about echo chambers. It's about who you follow on Twitter. It's about curating your own timeline and circles. And I think people should use Twitter lists and really just focus on finding the people that they think are being rational and positive and logical about the space, and not emotional.
Okay, stable coins. Let's talk stable coins. Uh, you wrote a great piece on it recently. We'll link to that in the show notes if anybody wants to dive into that. It's one of Zeneca's premium newsletters, but it's free for everybody right now, so you guys can check it out. Before we talk about the main thing, I think everybody wants to know is how do I get exposure to stablecoins and how do I invest in it? Before we talk about that, though, just give us your take on stablecoins and your framework on how you're thinking about stablecoins and where you think it's going.
Yeah, I mean, massively bullish on them. Like as we've been saying, it's product market fit. It's an actual use case for crypto. To me, it's like the answer whenever anyone you come across anyone in real life and they're like, yeah, but what can you actually do with crypto? Is it actually solving anything? And then you explain stable coins and it doesn't take long. And you talk sending money to someone on the other side of the world in, less than a second for less than 1 cent. And it's like you just compare that to Western Union or wire transfers or anything. Like domestically, sure, there's Venmo and there's things that are free and instant, but internationally, it's like that has not been solved and probably never will be solved because of intermediaries like banks and transaction fees and currency conversion. Stablecoin solves all that. So it's like it's just a better product, and that to me is very exciting. And the other element of them is that it is for a lot of countries it's a safe haven. Like their local currency is not stable. Argentina, I think Sudan at the moment. There's so many countries that have had inflation in the 20, 30, 100%, 200% ranges, where Zimbabwe a while ago is ridiculous inflation. So if someone is in one of those countries and earning money, putting it into a stable coin in US dollars is much safer and literally more stable than their local currency, more stable than Bitcoin, more stable than practically anything else. So yeah, real use cases, and more people are waking up to it. There's regulation being proposed and approved all around the world now to allow more companies and entities to just sort of like go just like adopt it more. And yeah, it's just going crazy.
Yeah, we uh, we had Vlad Tenev, the founder CEO of Robinhood, on the show earlier this week on Monday, and your opinions about Robinhood aside, because we got a bit slammed for promoting Robinhood, and everybody's still very upset about GameStop and what they did in the past. And look, I don't need to get into that, but one thing he said that really stood out to me was he said that stablecoins and crypto rails are a 10x operational improvement from his current
Yeah.
business model. 10x. So it's not like, and most of that relates to 10x of lowering cost, basically,
Yeah.
right? That's enormous. Like, what corporation in the world is not going to start to use something that is going to potentially lower your cost 10x,
Yeah.
10x, right? Like, I'm not talking
Everyone
like
will.
everybody will do it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
More than, I think it's even more than 10x in some cases. And that's what you need that because to get people to change from an existing system, if it's twice as good, it's usually not enough. It needs to be an order of magnitude better. It's like, it's why a new social media site is so difficult. Like there's been a million Twitter competitors, but you have to be an order of magnitude or two or three greater than Twitter to actually get people to get out of their ways and move over. It's the same for a lot of these large companies that are using, traditional financial rails and models. You need to offer them something that's way better. And it's faster, it's cheaper, it's more transparent. It's just better in so many
yeah,
different ways.
yeah, exactly. Or you just need a founder like Elon Musk that pisses off half the world, so then Blue Sky can exist and half the world goes there.
Yeah, it is. It
uh,
always amazes me how many people are still using Blue Sky.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I talked
Yeah,
to somebody the other day that was on Blue Sky. I was like, "What? People are there?"
yeah,
But
that
it's
still
it's
exists.
it's big. It's big. A lot
Yeah,
of people are there. Okay, how do you get how do you get exposure to stable coins? And let me tee this up right here.
yeah. So like I wrote my article and then I put it a few ways in. I was like, there's no easy way to get exposure because companies like Tether and Circle are not public and yada yada yada. And then 2 days later, Circle files for IPO. So this is obviously one clear and easy way to get exposure. Circle is the company behind USDC, the second largest stablecoin. I think they have like 30% market share or something like that, 25%. So that is one way right there. But in my article, I also wrote buying Coinbase stock as one of the opportunities because, and got a lot more information after this IPO announcement. Coinbase, in conjunction with Circle, like help them launch USDC. And part of the deal was always that they get a percentage of the revenue or the profits from USDC. And I think when they filed for IPO, they had to release all their financials and everything like that. And it came out that I think they're getting 50% or even more than 50%
More
of
than
the profits
they,
are going to
yeah.
Coinbase. So just buying Coinbase, it will get you pretty good exposure, aside from being a good stock in many other ways as well. So that's one way. Other ways are buying DeFi related products, stablecoin related products. Athena is one, which is sort of a there you go. It's like a synthetic stablecoin. It's not one to one backed by USD holdings. It's kind of algorithmic, but not really. The way that they hold their peg is they have a bunch of crypto assets, so Bitcoin, ETH, and I think they have like 60 or 70% in stables as well. And then they use trading fees from when people are longing and shorting the market to generate yield and distribute that back. So it's gotten a lot of excitement this cycle, and it's a new primitive that could do well from here. Maker Sky. Sky is like the new rebranding of MakerDAO, which is another DeFi protocol where they're behind DAI, which is I think the third or fourth biggest stablecoin. And
It's
yeah,
third. It's third. If you
third.
combo
Oh,
DAI
DAI.
and Sky, DAI and
Yes, yeah,
USDS, which is if you
yeah,
combo those, it's 8 billion total or around there. So it's
yeah,
number three. I'm super
yeah,
bullish on Maker Sky. We got
yeah.
Rune, the founder, coming on the show next week, so we're
Nice.
going to break down a lot of why we're so bullish on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's good reason to be bullish. DAI is also one of the only and definitely the most significant decentralized stable coins. So like Tether and Circle are, centralized entities, and we've seen many times before, like they'll freeze people's funds, which is sometimes good if there's a massive hack and North Korea is siphoning the money. It's nice to have that recourse, but it's also against the crypto ethos as well. And so I think that it's nice to have a decentralized option as well, which DAI basically is. Um, and then, I mean, I didn't mention it here, but there are a bunch of other protocols as well. Within existing DeFi, Aave, and other people using stablecoins and generating yield and things like that. You can go further down the stablecoin curve, and then yeah, there's a bunch of upcoming tokens
What's this? Yeah,
and
what's
bonds.
this plasma that you were talking about here? I
Plasma
haven't heard
is
of
so
this.
it's getting a lot of hype now. Plasma is a new, I think it's an L1, a new blockchain. It's being backed by Tether, and so it's basically their own L1, designed specifically for stablecoins. And part of it is going to be that USDT transfers are going to be fee free. So free transfers, which is, again,
Wow.
currently if you're sending USDT on Ethereum, it's, 50 cents, maybe a few dollars if gas is really high. On base, it's better, but sometimes even on base, it's 5 cents. When you're talking about millions and billions of transactions, being able to reduce that to literal zero is actually a massive improvement. So yeah, I think it's very likely to do very well. Unfortunately, there's no way to get exposure at the moment. They did it around months and months and months ago. It's already closed. Hopefully, that the hope is that they do some sort of ICO or Echo or Legion based round where the community can get involved. Otherwise, just use the platform, hope for an airdrop, buy the token if and when it comes out. If the price seems reasonable, keep
Mhm.
an eye on it.
Mhm.
Basically.
The other thing you said was just buy Bitcoin, which is I thought was a very,
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting take,
It's the
right?
simplest answer. I mean, at the highest level, stablecoin adoption. I think predictions are that it'll be $3 trillion worth of stablecoins. I think within the next few years, we're currently like
Jesus.
250 billion. So, like, if there's that amount of money in stables, surely that some of that's going to run to like Bitcoin and other crypto assets. It's only good for crypto. So the simplest answer is literally buy Bitcoin. The slightly more risky, but I still think very reasonable answer is to buy the other chains that are underpinning a lot of this activity. So you've got ETH and Tron, TRX, which make up for like 80% of all stablecoin volume. Yeah. So I mean, I'm always finding a way to like shill my ETH bags that I'm very heavily down on. And I've been holding for a very long time, but I'm still bullish ETH. I will die on this hill. And I think this is just yet another reason. For all of the hate that it gets, over half of all stablecoin activity and volume and TVL is still on ETH, and not even L2s. Like I think L2s are separate to this, and then
Mhm.
on top of this, you can see their base is 1.8%, Arbitrum 1.4, so ETH mainnet 54%. So yeah, buy Bitcoin, ETH, Tron. Generally, good ideas, I think, to get exposure to the stablecoin sector.
Do you own Tron? I've never
Now,
gotten into Tron. I've never really
I've always
dove
had like a
into
just
it.
weird feeling towards Justin Sun, so I just never
Yeah.
really looked into it.
Yeah.
But I looked at the chart when I was writing this post, and it's like it's done very well this cycle, like
Really?
surprisingly well. Yeah, it's just kind of just been up only, and like it's dropped, but not as much as everything else in the recent crash. Probably because of stablecoins.
You're probably right. Somebody paid us in stable coins on Tron recently,
Hmm.
and I just had such a difficult time bridging it off of Tron that I was like, "Fuck
Yeah,
Tron." It was so
yeah.
annoying. Now
It's
I real
incredible how much volume they still have for stablecoins,
Mhm.
given all that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like this is my. I mean, look, I have not looked deep into Tron at all, but the thing that stands out to me is like, if Tron is really just USDT, and if we're gonna abstract the chains, like, is there really a long-term fundamental case for Tron if they don't have other activity that keeps them
Yeah.
alive when people don't care what chain their stable coins are on, which it feels inevitable?
Yeah, no, that's the risk. I also wrote about that, where it's like once Plasma is launched, a lot of this USDT, TVL, and volume is just going to be siphoned from ETH and Tron over to Plasma. We'll see what that does to activity and prices. But I mean, the counter to that is that even if you take 50% away or 70% away, if the overall TVL goes up by 15x, then it's still an increase in total amount, in raw amounts on both chains compared to where it is now.
Mhm, mhm.
Just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Okay, I want to finish with portfolio, something we usually always touch on when we have you on the show. How are you thinking about your portfolio allocation? What are you doing right now? You
I'm
buying?
really
You
just sitting on my
selling?
hands. Selling a little bit when things pump, not too much. I'm just sitting in stables, a lot of ETH, which I'm still bullish on. I think it'll come back. I still have some AI coins, Banker, I still have some virtuals, AXBT, Vader. Obviously down bad on all of those, but I took profits on the way up, and overall up on them all, so I don't feel too bad. Yeah, I'm just waiting. Like I'm prepared to like. I accept that things can go down another 90% from here. All these AI bags, my Pengu bag, my there's a bunch of things that could still drop another 90%. And I'm okay with that because I think that there's a decent enough chance that we'll bounce back up, and things will the coins that I'm holding, at least enough of them will go up 3, 4, 5, 10x from here still, to make up for the rest. But
Mhm,
definitely
mhm.
down bad like most people, I think.
That's that's reassuring to hear. We're, we're not the only one. Everyone is. It's a tough market over there. I want to ask about where where are you looking for the next when there is when macro turns around and we see the next the bull market come back, what are you paying attention to? Is there specific sectors or specific areas that you think could rally first or could catch the narrative?
I mean, AI, I still think is the dominant narrative of the cycle of the world right now.
What I can't figure out is like what within
Yeah,
AI.
I don't know
That's
what
my
either.
struggle right now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, is it Farcoin? Like, because that's not even
it
AI,
could be.
right? Like, but like,
Um, it's
yeah, like,
there's no clear. I think there's no clear winner at the moment. There's no clear
Mhm,
direction, and that's why it's you have to just like stay tuned into the space. Like, be online, check in on Twitter, check in on newsletters, just check in on podcasts, see what people are talking about, where what new products are being built. There's a lot in the DeFi AI space. Wayfinder's coming out soon. Prompt could be a good bet depending on where it launches.
is
That sector could
Prompt
take off.
Wayfinder's
Yeah,
token?
yeah.
And is that's the parallel team?
That's the parallel team. Yeah, it's. I think they said
That's
they're launching
interesting.
in the first 1 or 2 weeks of April, so very soon.
Oh, very soon.
Um, yeah, there's a really great airdrop farm that everyone listening should go and do. I'll send
Oh,
you the
tell
link if
us.
you don't have it already. Basically, you go to their website, you connect your wallet, you set up an account, you deposit like $10 in stable coins, and then do a few like social missions, follow them and stuff like that, and you're eligible for a percentage of the airdrop. I think they're
Well, fuck
allocating
yeah.
2% to that or something, which is it should be $1 billion protocol. So
Okay,
good
alpha,
money.
alpha, alpha. What you
Yeah.
got a did you write an article on this? What's your link? You got a step
I
by
did not
step how
article.
to
I wrote a tweet ages ago, but no, I'll send you the link. I might write about it today because I put out an issue on Thursdays, and yeah, it's worth telling people.
Okay.
But
Whoever,
yeah,
everybody listening, if you want Zeneca to write about this, comment in the show notes that you want to write about it, and then we'll
yeah.
get
I'm
him to
very
write
bullish
about
on everything parallel and Wayfinder. They've been building this. They've been building in this space well before the AI hype took off, and it's a really good product.
Yeah, that's an you know what, there's an interesting one. I hadn't thought about that because, like, okay, if we think about AI, you've got AI influencers, which, like, really, like, seem to be those were the ones that pumped in the last, like, AI XBT, those Luna, all of those.
Mhm.
You have the launch pads, like, virtuals. I don't know if I have a lot of conviction on those. Like, I guess those will come back. I don't know what your thoughts. Yeah, I guess they would. I don't know. It's just so
Yeah,
early. Who
hard to
knows which
tell.
launch pad wins? Um, I think you have all of the long term. I'm very bullish on the more fundamental side of AI. So, like, the compute and the data
Mm,
storage projects. But those are they're
yeah,
so non-sexy and so complicated and so difficult to understand. Like, I don't think they catch the narrative. But the DeFi, or a wallet
DeFi
that uses,
AI.
like, DeFi AI, that actually, you're right, that could be, like, that is that perfect blend of, it'll probably be used by a lot of people. It's interesting. It's memeable. It's viral. Like, Banker really fits that, and
Yeah,
Banker's done, so it's probably one of the few tokens that it's done well in the past 3 months. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay,
yeah,
Wayfinder. There we go.
Wayfinder. But yeah, I mean, I'm paying attention to just. I think by being around, you pay attention to everything. Maybe it's gaming that takes off, although that seems unlikely. Maybe it's memes again. Maybe it's NFTs. Maybe it's DeFi in general. Maybe it's
Mhm,
something else. But yeah, eventually it'll be AI again, and
mhm.
that's where my money's on. But you just have to go where the wind is blowing and just see what makes the most sense at any given time. If you're trying to trade crypto, it's like you can't be picky. You just have to go where the opportunities are.
Did you see Guns launched? Did you
Oh
did you see
yeah,
that token?
it's
Yeah,
kind of disastrous.
you oh, I haven't been paying attention. What happened?
I think they launched at like a billion FDV, but only like 6% of the supply was
Oh
out there.
god. Oh
And then
god.
it's already down half. They changed the terms on their investors, like last minute. Investors were meant to get 10% at TG or something, but probably because Binance wanted them to change it. Like last minute, they changed that. People who bought nodes years ago, which I did, they didn't give any tokens at TGE. So it's just like they didn't.
God.
The community dislikes them, and the token has been down only, which is a shame because the game is genuinely good and fun, and like everyone was like a lot of hopes and dreams pinned on it because it was a crypto game that was actually good and actually had lots of users and players. Still does. So maybe it comes back, but the launch itself not great.
Yeah, so for everybody who doesn't know, Gun, the ticker is Gun, GUN. Guns is from Gunzilla, is the team which made Off the Grid, which was like
Yeah.
the crypto game that blew up back in the fall. I definitely did a few shows where I was like, everybody watch Guns. Like, I thought when this token launched, I also thought that I knew it was going to launch like Q1, Q2. I also thought we were going to be at a different
Yeah.
point in the market now. Um, Bummer, bummer. I was
I
really
mean, if this
excited about
was a
this
few
one.
months ago, this could definitely have been a several billion-dollar FTV. And if they did a few things differently with the launch, but
Mhm, mhm.
it's what it is.
Oh, well, what can you do? Zen, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate your time. We'll throw a link to whatever tweet you got or whatever for Wayfinder and getting involved in that airdrop, because that seems like some great alpha. And if you do write an article, we'll also share that one as well. Appreciate you joining us today, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me here.
Thanks for listening to today's episode, everybody. Truly appreciate your support and your time. I'm going to be at Consensus Toronto May 14th to May 16th, and I would love to meet you guys. It is so fun to meet our community and to meet fellow crypto investors and crypto builders in person. You get a different level of a relationship, and I want to hang out with all of you. I'd hang out with all of you every day if I could, because all I do is want to talk crypto, and I know you guys are the same. So if you want to grab a ticket to Consensus, you want to come to Toronto, hit the link in the show notes. There's a discount. You can get a $350 off your ticket. We're going to have a Milk Road event. So if you do buy a ticket, make sure you check out and watch out for Milk Road events so you guys can register that. We're going to have a bunch of drinks and whatnot, and we'll all be hanging out. Hope to see you there. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.